So Citizen Serve, just a couple things about us. We've been in business a long time, 17 years. We started right from the very beginning as a software as a service, which 17 years ago, people didn't really know what the heck software as a service meant. So I think we're a little bit ahead, very much ahead of the curve on that. We've never had any other way to get to Citizen Serve other than a browser. We work on any device, any browser. There's no software that you or your constituents have to download or update. Everything is done through the browser, 100%. We also started 17 years ago with another part that was very unique, and that is we've always had a complete support model for our customers, which means, once you're live, we're going to do whatever you want us to do in Citizen Serve, and there's never going to be a charge. So if you want to report, we'll write a report. We have a report writer too, but if you want us to write a report, or you want a new metric added to your homepage, you want to change your fees, you want to revamp your letters that go out, really anything other than converting existing data or integrating with a third-party system, we're going to do, and we're going to do it very quickly for you. So we get about 85% of the things we get asked for each day done that same day. Some bigger things, like if we had to revamp all the fees across all the permits for a customer, or they want to add 2 new permits as an example, those things aren't going to be done that day, but we usually get things done within a week, those big projects like that. So I think those are the kind of the important things to remember about us. Michelle, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you. Do you guys have any questions about Citizen Serve, us as a company, or how we work with our customers?
I have a question about, I guess you're probably going to touch up on that, on collection of fees, the collection of licenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that during the demo.
Right. Go ahead.
So I will jump in. If you have questions as we go, feel free to ask. We're looking at the Citizen Serve webpage, and this is where you'll log in as staff members. I want to point out that we offer all of these modules at the bottom. So a business licensing module, and that's where BTRs fall. A code enforcement module, a module for permitting, which is already set up for Bay Harbor Islands. The planning and zoning module, a request tracking module, and then our online portal. And the portal is what's geared towards your constituents. So it's informational for them. It's how they access your information, how they apply for things online. So we're going to jump to the portal for the town of Buena Vista. This is our demo portal. It's what we show off in all our demos. It's fairly built out. This is a configurable portal. So your Bay Harbor Islands portal, I've pulled it up.
Is that licensing referred to business tax receipts or something else?
This licensing is specifically for business licensing. We don't have BTRs set up in this environment, but we'll head out to Sanford, Florida today, and I'll show you how they've built BTRs using Citizen Serve. We list all of the modules on the front, but as you notice on your portal site, we just disable the items that you're not using. So maybe I'll scroll out just a little bit. So currently you have building and zoning and then development projects plus complaints and requests exposed. If you wanted to implement licensing or BTRs, we would just add a section that would allow your constituents to learn more about or to apply or to look at renewals. And we'll get to see how Sanford's is built out. I'm going to hide this just for a minute because you've got some features that are disabled. But if we wanted to look at the licensing section, there's a link here to learn more about licensing. This could also say learn more about BTRs. So this is a generic page that we want to customize for you to give information about your processes, your BTRs. There's all of these underlying pages of content for your constituents. So they could click this link to learn whether or not they need a BTR. And then we would insert text here specific to your BTR process. And then when your constituents were all up to speed on whether or not they needed one, they could go to the next page, which would be the submittal requirements page. And in this event, this is really geared towards licensing. But again, this is all HTML, so all of this text can be updated. In fact, I think that the only item that can't be updated is this word licenses here. And we'll see that in Sanford. In some places, licenses just sticks around, even though we're talking about BTRs. So the cool thing about this page, and really any of these pages, is that we can list actual requirements here. But the cool thing here is that every license type can have its own set of requirements documents that we could link to from the page. And if your requirements are on your site, we can point back to it And if those requirements are out on the web somewhere, we just point to that location on the web. The next step would be to apply now. And on the application page, you can log in if you already have an account, but you can also use the register button to register if you don't have an account. So this is where we're going to switch over to Sanford, and I'll show you what a registration looks like for a business contact. So this is our make-believe town of Buena Vista, and we just don't have BTRs listed, but we're going to switch into a different profile here. This is Sanford, but it's a copy of their production environment. So that's why we're missing these images here. It says DC test at the top. This also means we're not on our fast and furious production servers. So it's a little bit slower. So I want to show you how to register on the portal, and then we'll submit a BTR, and then I'll show you what those BTRs look like on the back end. So this is the registration screen. It looks really limited, right? Because the first question is a dynamic field. So I have to dictate the registration type, or I have to tell it what I want. And when I pick business contact, then it displays my, my input fields. So then I can put in my email address. And then I have to confirm it.
Can I ask you what the options are to register, and can those be customized?
This is a good question. Yes, all of these options were configured for the city of Sanford. You tell us what registration types you need, and we will build them for you.
Okay.
We have a standard set of fields that we use. So if we choose business contract, you can see we're asking for email and name, first name and last name and address. Anything with the red hash is required. So you can dictate on this form what fields you want to have required and what you don't. But then if you need additional information, if you want to gather additional fields, we can add them for you at the bottom of the field, or at the bottom of the form. If we switch over, they don't have anonymous as a type, but that's also another type that we can use. And it just has like a spot for you to put in a password and a username for the portal. So we have lots of options in here. If I switch over to, I'm thinking that these are all going to be pretty similar. If I switch to construction manager, they've just taken the requirements off the name and address fields. So it's just a very limited set of data here. So you get to dictate the types that you want listed and then what fields you want required, and we can pull in additional data. So for this type, they want a lot of data. So we're going to put in a BTR for Mish's Fun Kid Zone, and we'll do it at 1611 Murphy Drive. We'll scroll down here. So this is asking for at least one phone number. So there, if you need to get a hold of me, that's my phone number. And I just logged into the portal as this other user, so it's defaulted that email address in. But I'm going to just pull in my email address. So I put in a username and a password, and now I'm ready to submit this. So it's done some checking. It's telling me that my passwords match, and it's allowing me to submit. Now it tells me that my registration is complete. So now I'm logged into the portal. You can see it says log out Misha at the top, and we're on my account page, and it tells me that I'm logged in at the top. So there's some cues here. And remember, this is where your business contacts will be using the system. So here in Sanford, you can see that they offer permitting and licensing and development projects and code violations. You offer requests and they don't, so they've hidden that. So that's how we can configure these things to only show the services that you want to offer. Now, for their BTRs, you actually go to the licensing section. So if I go to licensing, it's going to take us to their informational page. So here's where they put in some help text. Are you starting a business or need a city license? Use our online portal to apply for business tax receipts, oil and grease permit, or other licensing. So then we can just hit that button to apply online. And we get to pick the type of license that we're applying for. In this case, it's going to be a business tax receipt. And this will be a home-based business. And this will be Mrs. Kid Zone. So we're able to look up parcel data. So I've put in a partial address here. I left off the drive. And when I click find address, it pulls in that parcel data. If there had been multiple options that matched 1611 Murphy, it would have given me a selection, a list to select from. And now this is their BTR form. So they're collecting business information. Just for time constraints, I'm going to focus on filling out their required fields. There will be no adult entertainment here. It will purely be kid entertainment. Okay, this is a test for you. If this is, day nursery or kindergarten, I was looking up childcare. So they have this option for primary type of activity, type of day nursery. It will be a home daycare. If we had additional business activities, we could add those. They are not requiring ownership information type, but these are, again, drop downs that are probably a dynamic field. So if I chose corporation, it's going to display some additional fields for me to fill out. And if I leave it blank, I don't have to fill those out. Here's their fictitious name statement. I'm going to put in federal employer ID and am I in compliance? I have no idea what this means, but I'm going to say yes. But remember, this is the demo. I'm not actually applying for this. So my registration number. And when it
What is the registration number that you just put in? Is that something?
This is something Sanford specific. I don't a fictitious name registration.
Okay, gotcha.
The number issued by the state. I'm assuming.
No, she did that. She did the federal employer federal ID up on top, and then it said registration number. So I was wondering what that was pointing to.
Do you only get one or the other? If you have a federal ID, you don't need a registration number.
We don't usually collect the registration number.
Oh, so you don't have to. They're choosing to, but this is, all of these are custom fields that we built for the Sanford app. So yours can look exactly like your paper app looks. Are you using paper right now, or are you in another system?
We're using an old customized Access database.
So we would just use the forms that you're using right now as a basis to build your forms in CitizenServe. And now it wants me to attach my registration. So I'm going to do what hopefully none of your real business contacts do. And I'm going to upload a fake form. See, I don't even have anything that says registration here. We will just do a driver's license for Lucille Ball.
Great.
At least it's fun to look at, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then for required submittal documents, it says attach a copy of your state license, but they haven't made it a requirement. So I can upload this without this document, but you get to dictate what fields you want to be made required. So if this were truly required, we would attach that little red hash mark by it, and then they would have to upload their state license.
So could that be customized, because certain licenses require a state license and certain ones do not?
Yes, so that could be based on the BTR type. So you'd have to have some sort of a either by subtype or by some other custom field, and if that was selected, then we could drive.
Okay.
Here is this condition, this terms and conditions. So I check this box to say that I agree, and then I submit. So it's giving me this prompt that my application's been received, and it's going to send me an email with information. So let's see if that is has come through. So here is my confirmation that my license application was received. This is done in HTML, so we can change the look and feel of these emails. This blue bar can go away. The information that's displayed can be configured very specifically to what you need. We see a lot of municipalities putting COVID information up here, or information about how long the process usually takes or the next steps in this area. And then all of these fields just come right from the database. And then there's a link back that'll get us back to that application. So in this environment, they let me submit my BTR and I didn't have to pay anything. But there's a fee involved. So we're going to jump over to the staff side. Let's see.
So do we get notifications every time somebody submits a new license?
So what you'll get is a task on your task list. But if you want to receive an email notification, that's an option. It depends on like how much of your time is going to be spent in CitizenServe. If you're there every day anyway, then you just clutter your email box. But if you're only stepping in once a week, then maybe you want that reminder in email, and that can be set up on an activity level.
And that's a choice that every individual user can make, and they're just having they set up their profile.
Right. So I am going to log in as my other user really quick. I have this whole BTR set up here in this test environment so that we can take a look at it, like what a finished one looks like. But I wanted to show you this process. So I'm logged in as this other user, and I'm trying to find, there it is. So this is her task list, but this is in the test environment. So she has 25 tasks there. So if we look at the whole thing, it's a big, it's a big bunch of intimidating things that she's really behind on. Ours is the newest, and it went right to the bottom. So I used the metrics up at the top to say, just show me what's due. And that's how I got that filter to show me one. So here is what the BTR looks like. This is actually her task list. You guys don't work in CitizenServe, right?
No.
Have you ever seen it at all?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so let me give you just a little navigation. This is what the homepage looks like. You can have a picture here, but we're in this test environment, so the images didn't get copied over. There's a navigation bar at the top. We're at the home screen. That's what that little gray arrow indicates. We can go to our activities by hovering here. You see some other options to get to tasks and calendar and department activities. If you wanted to create a file over the counter, this is how you do it. So this user has access to code enforcement and permits and the business licensing, which is your contractor registrations. We have a really robust search feature that lets you search for a file, a contact, or a property. But if you notice up in the top right, this is another search screen. This is called Quick Search. You get to pick your top 3 search fields here by using this little gear icon. You get to pick your favorites, and then they'll display there, and you get to pick, like if I wanted to look at BTRs, I could look at all the BTRs that were entered in 2019. And this gives me a list of 3,955. And then you can click on these to open them. So that's another quick search that helps you get to things quickly, which is so redundant. It's a quick search that helps you get to things quickly. So that was under the search screen. We do have some reports available under the report tab. As Ray said, report writing is included in your subscription. We will write as many reports as you need individually. And we also have a report writer if you want to write them for yourself. The support center is how you ask for help. This is how you can ask for a new report or a new metric or get a question answered. You just put in the name and the description. Your contact information is below. And this is a system user, so that's why, it's in our test environment. Otherwise, it would be your information there. The administration tab is how we do configuration in the system. We won't lock you out of it. If you want to know how to do it, we will train you to do it. We will also fix anything that you break, but we are more than happy to do these configuration changes, and we do it through the administration window. So then below that navigation tab is her home page. So here's a little greeting at the top. Usually it would have a picture there. Here's her task list, which she has total 25 tasks. But let's look at this full list so you can see the data that's being displayed. This first column, this is the activity that she has to perform. That's the task that's assigned to her. This is the project that the task is associated with. There's the address of the project and the description, and then a status and a due date. And again, we can filter to just look at the one that we want to get to, and we'll get there in a minute. If she had tasks that were time sensitive, like an inspector has to go out and do an inspection on a certain date and a certain time, those would be created as calendar items or events, and those would be listed here. The system user doesn't have that. Actually, this isn't a system user. This is Joanne Johnson. but she doesn't, I think, have those appointments. So she can actually hide that calendar icon if she wanted to. Below the calendar are metrics. I sort of referenced these earlier. A metric is a very visual report. It's graphical. It tells you, like, this is number of licenses in this renewal period, and it gives you the total number. This color bar is broken into these different categories that correspond to these below. So it's helpful to see it just at a glance that you've got, 2,638. And that 1640 are in the renewal complete state. So you're getting there, right? They're almost, they're over halfway done. But it's even more beneficial to be able to click on these different metrics and pull up the files that make up those metrics. So then we get a whole listing of these BTRs, and we can use this link to open up the BTR in a new field. So this is what a BTR looks like. This isn't ours. This is just the one that we pulled from that metric. This is for Ray's appliance, no relation to the Ray that's on the phone, I think. But so this gives you the file information at the top. If there was an image from Google, it would display here. This can be updated if you have your own images. But if you notice, we have tabs across the top. So this gives us license information. We're staring at one of these licenses, and we're going to scroll down, but know that you could have multiple licenses in this one project. So for this
before you get away on the images, can you put multiple images in there, like updated? And...
No, it can only display one. But if you wanted to upload photos to the file, you could do that.
Okay.
And in fact, we have a customer that uses the contractor's image in contractor registration. So when you pull up the file, it pulls up the face of the contractor, which I think is really cool. Because then you see their face there instead of the location, which is usually from Google. Let's see. So this is a BTR like we filled out online, but this has some staff-only fields, like this renewal status. It shows us that the renewal is submitted. These buttons right here, this ... you can see them scattered throughout. That's the more information button. And if I click this, this is going to show the renewal status of this BTR. So it tells you when the renewal period started, the renewal status, and if you see the drop down, there's 3 statuses listed. And then the date the new renewal was sent and the date that the renewal was submitted. So the business owner has already submitted their renewal, and now it's sitting in Sanford's inbox, ready to be completed.
The question, I'm probably a little ahead of your presentation, but the renewal, can that be sent out to like everyone by email?
Absolutely, it can. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then when it's sent out by email, it can drive them right back to the portal where, we'll give them a temporary username and password for them to sign in. So,
Okay.
So for existing businesses, they don't have to create a register. They don't have to register. They can just do the link that you sent by email and pay as a guest.
Well, once we would send out, when we send out the email, we would give them a temporary username and password. So then they would log in, with those temporary credentials, change their password, and then they wouldn't be a guest anymore. They would be logged in order to pay that invoice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then here are the fields that are related to this. I think this is a contractor registration. Commercial business located within the city. So these fields are different than the home-based business form that we filled out through the portal. So they're tracking this information, but these are again configurable. I'm going to scroll down so that you can see the fee structure at the bottom. Oh, wow. They've been renewing for a long time. This is great. Usually we don't get quite so much history. So we get renewals back from 1994. For them, and they're tracking it all here under this one BTR. So they've gone through a really lengthy process, right? They've been doing this for a long time. And that's why the total fees are so high, because it's tracking all of them. Below the fee structure, you get the payment tracker. So you can see all of the payments that have been applied. And then this little letter is, you can generate a receipt for this payment if they need it. So there's no balance due on this one.
Another question. Once the business, it said the business it's been open for 10 years and then they close now. Do you archive The BTR? Because there will be eventually another business opening under the same address.
So we will close the BTR and it will have a status of closed, but we're parcel based. So if we looked at the address, we'd see a history of all of the licenses or BTRs that were opened at that address.
And the status of those, yeah.
And the status, yeah.
Okay.
Like here's the status
What would you want?
of this
What
license.
would you want to have done there?
No, I was just wondering because a lot of time we have to go back and see what businesses were there before. And then we have to actually see how long ago they closed. There's like some things in our code that says if it's an office on the ground floor and it's been over 180 days since they closed, you cannot put another office use back in. You have to put a different type of use. So that, just to give me an idea, we will be able to see when the business closed or when we were told the business closed. And if somebody new applies, we could clear the date and see if they're within the range. And also, you said you're parcel based, which means probably you use the folio number. Is that correct?
I don't know.
I think that's what they call their parcel there.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are. It works out for the building department because of the permitting, the way that they do it. You know, they go to the parcel. If it's a single home, it's just one number. However, if it's a business, there could be 300 businesses under that same parcel number.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a driver in the business license component, but it's probably just the address that you would have the corporate underneath, and then each of those licenses can have their own specific addresses associated with them.
Okay, but it would be the same folio. It's just different addresses, different suite numbers and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. So whatever the address of each of those licenses, we'll track that separately.
Okay.
But we roll those all up to that same company.
Okay.
So we got to this license by clicking on a file in a metric. So I'm closing that tab down, and it's brought us back to that initial tab. So this is just showing the benefit of being browser based, that you can do different tasks in different tabs, and when you're done, you just close out. So this is that metric that we were on. If you wanted to add a different metric, we have this little configuration here. You get a listing of all of the available metrics. So you can add anything new. Let's see what we've got. I don't know if they're tracking hours. Let's see if I can find something specific to licensing. Let's do a pending tasks by user. To add a metric, you select it and then you give it a time period. So I'm going to say, show me everything for this year. And the scope is whose work is it? So in this case, I'm going to say, give me everybody's work. And when I add it, I get now 4 metrics in the My Metrics section. And I'm going to save and it'll refresh that. So it's also going to refresh my task list. So it's going to take a second. Plus, remember, this is my DC test server. So it's a little bit slower. And now that we've added all those pending tasks and appointments, we can see this listing of all of these users, and we get to see what tasks are pending for them. So that's how you can configure metrics. But if you have an idea for a metric that would help you get your job done, and it's not listed on that available set, then all you do is go up to Support Center and you describe what you need. And we looked at that form already, so I won't pull it up again. So other features of the task list are recent files. This is the stuff that you worked on last week that maybe isn't in your task list anymore. The link section gets you access to your settings and to change your password. You can also link to reports that you run frequently. And then the notes section down at the bottom is how you can just do a note to self. And then you just cross it off when you're done. So this is her homepage. It's configurable. If she wanted to change what was displayed here, she could take off that calendar. She could take off those links. She can reorder these here. We'll just hit save, and it's going to take off a couple of those items. So it's easy to configure. But now let's go do some work. Let's go into this BTR. Now I clicked business license review. This is what they've chosen to name their activity, but these workflows are configurable. So we would build you an activity. If you wanted it to be BTR review, we could name it that. In this case, they use the Common Comments book or the markup tool to do their review. So So really, let's do this. If she wanted to review this BTR, she would want to take a look at the license application, right? But instead of clicking over to this tab and then clicking back to the reviews, I'm going to use this more information button, and it's going to open up a new tab that has the BTR application in it. So here's Mish's Kid Zone. We can see that I owe $5, right? There's no amount paid. That's a balance due. It looks like in their process, they do their review first, and then they invoice for that amount. If you wanted to charge it right when the application is made through the portal, we can do that too.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you would just need, do you have a payment processor set up right now? You wouldn't know that necessarily for permitting.
Well, it's never worked right.
Still not working right.
Really, for the permitting side? Okay, so we should put in a support request
I
for
don't know
that.
about the permitting. The building department and stuff is separate. We had something to be able to pay online that has never worked right.
Oh, okay. So we could probably help you there. So we've got, the way that we work with payment processors is, number one, each department can have their own payment processor. So you don't have to use the one that the building department's using. You can, choose your own. And we've got, Misha, can you pull up that list maybe? We got a list of about 20 different ones that we have done integration with. And if you want to use one of those, there's no charge on our end. If there's one that you want to use that is not on that list, then we're going to charge you $8,000, and the next lucky customer gets that for free. So, but we have no financial relationship with any of these guys. We don't take a component of your fee. We don't even get involved in your selection. We just do the integration, and then once we do the integration, you can use it if you want.
Can you send us that
Sure.
information?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, we charge a processing fee, and then after the license is approved, we charge the license fee.
So the processing fee is like at the time of submittal?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. That's just, so we set up, so when they submit it, they would just pay that processing fee. You'd go through your review, you'd make sure the fees are really what you want them to be, and then that would become what's due.
Yeah. Also, as part of our review, our police department does a background check, and they sign off. So that's something like as part of the license review, can you have different people that are required to, I guess, to enter the information before the license can be used?
Yeah, that would just be part of that workflow. You'd have a step in there, which was, you'd call it background review, and it would be assigned to somebody in the police department.
Okay.
So let's look at the workflow route next. I think that I made an assumption, maybe a bad assumption, that we were all familiar with workflows. So we're actually doing the first step of this workflow route. But when we're done here, we'll go back and we'll look at the review route and we can talk about it. Part of what this user would do would be to check fees. It looks like Sanford has some built-ins, like they're able to do a license fee exemption. So if this person was over 65, I could add that into this section and I could recalculate. And I think that it's going to take that fee off. Now it says 0. So we can offer your staff these options to change the fee structure as needed. So then there's a credit for that. It looks like they're also able to add a prorated fee based on when the application was received.
Yes.
And they can add late fees. So I'm going to take these off because I want to show you, I'm going to recalculate using that little calculator button so that we have our $5 fee. So it's just reloading the application and it's going to bring me back down to the bottom. So if I had an additional fee that I wanted to add, I could use this barcode. This is the fee tracker. It's going to pull up a list of all of the defined fees in the system or the manual fees. And it is just taking just a second. So they have a miscellaneous fee and a miscellaneous credit. And then they have miscellaneous fees for 2019 and 2020. I don't know what the differences are there, but I know that I could do, sorry. How about $36? What I meant was $25. I could add a miscellaneous fee, which is 5 times the amount of that that fee, but you're able to add a fee that way, and then you can make a payment as well. So if I click the credit card icon, this is how you can track fees or track payments that come in over the counter. So if somebody brings you a check, or mails you a check, or brings you a credit card, or brings you cash. Now, when we click the credit card icon, it's eventually going to call up this payment tracker. And it'll allow you to track that information. I missed it the first time. So let's say that we took a check and that it was for $25. Oh, reference, Nisha's miscellaneous fee. Or we could reference the check number and say who it was received from and the amount. So there we just took a partial payment on that. And our balance is back down to $5. So this is us looking at the application, and we're on the licenses tab. We're going to click back over to our review tab. Let's go ahead and see if they do. So I've clicked on the Common Comments book, and this is one tool that we can use to do our review activities. So this is a collection of commonly used comments, and they've got a bunch of different groups that we can look at. So let's go to the license review group to see if there's anything applicable. So let's do, we need this, a copy of your daycare license, and we'll click this one. So I can click off the comments that I want to include. They're brought down to my review comments. Then when I send an email or I create a comment sheet, these comments can be pulled in. And we would just take your set of commonly used comments. If you don't have one, we can let your staff use the system for a couple months, and then we could build one for you based on what they're entering. So let's pretend that she is done with her review, and maybe she needs to send an email to the applicant to let them know that we need additional information. So we can click the email icon, and this pulls up a template selector. So let's send them the BTR email. Actually, I bet you that this is an introductory email that they probably send. Let's take a look and see. I'm going to address it. You could either type in the address, but I click the ... and that pulls up all the recipients. So I can pick the applicant from that list. And now let's take a look at this BTR email template. Oh, so this is like a blank. So you could use the edit button and you could type in whatever you want at the top of the form and then send it off. So it's like a blank template. We don't want this one. Let's do license application review comments. And now when we preview this one, I'm hoping it's going to pull in those comments that we selected from the comments book. Here we go. So we would build in whatever templates you needed, whether it's a blank like we saw or a comment sheet like this one. We can send this off to the applicant. It gives them instructions about how to get us this information. And now we can say that we've completed our review. Now, what would happen is that this would sit, right, until you got that data back. So we can pretend that that happened, and we'll give this a, how about an approved status? We'll pretend that everything came in. What I want to do is get this review activity completed so that I can show it to you. So it's repurposed this review tab. Now we're looking at the route that's assigned. This is the home-based business license review route. And if I scroll down, it shows you all of the steps in the activity. The first one is this business license review. It went to Joanne in the building department, who has approved it. It was due on the 16th. We completed it on the 9th. And then these are a copy of the notes. Now, the next thing it's going to go to is the planning department for their review activity. But you were talking about, can we send it to the police and have them do their background check? Right. Yes, this is how it would happen, is we would build you a workflow. And it could be that you have an application intake step where somebody verifies that everything is good. And once they complete that, then it goes out to the police department for that background check or to another reviewer or a series of reviewers. But we can handle both concurrent or consecutive reviews.
Okay. Well, we have probably 3 to put in there.
Sure. In my demo environment, there's like 7 review steps, and people are like, "That's a big review." Right. You don't have to. We'll set it up however your review actually happens. So let's just pretend that our other reviewer has done the work. What I want to do now is I want to generate the BTR. So if we go over to this license You can see that the status here is online application received. This is something that I should have done in the beginning. I should have changed the status from online application received into under review. When you change the status, you can change the tools that are available on the portal. Maybe when it's in online application received, they'll still let the applicant make changes to that application. But that's all determined by you. You get to dictate if you want that to happen. But when we change it to under review, then it locks that down specifically so that they can't make changes. When we're ready to, when we say it's all approved, we can click the approved status. It puts in an approval date. And when I click save, generally what this does is it issues an email to the applicant saying, hey, your BTR has been approved, but it hasn't been issued. You owe us $5. Go to the portal and pay. So we're just going to pretend that, actually, I don't know if I can go to the portal and pay. Let's try that so that you can see. Now, I'm logged in as a bunch of different users, and it doesn't really like that. So let's go check out what this request looks like, and we'll see if we get the status update. Otherwise, we'll have to log out. Oh, good. It did get that status change. So let's also check my email inbox, and we'll see if that email came through. Perfect. So here is that email that came through. It said, our status was updated. The status of your request has been updated. Your license has been approved and can be issued after final fees are paid. My balance is $5 and I can pay through the online portal. And it tells me what the BTR is, and then it gives me this link. So that link would take me back to the portal, and I could do something like this. Click make a payment, and let's see if my fake credit card will work here. I only use it here, I promise. And this is it's not a fake email, it's not a fake credit card, it's a test credit card. Oh, and see, this is the environment that I usually test in, this make-believe town in California. So we're just going to go with that, and we'll submit. Oh, okay. So this is not set up to use my test credit card. But truly, your business contacts can come to the portal and make a payment, and depending on your payment processor, you can take ACH payments. It just depends on which one you use. In this case, I would be able to make this payment through the portal if I had a real credit card. But instead, let's go just track a payment on this application on the staff side. I hit that credit card icon again, and it's going to load my payment tracker, and then we'll be able to pay this off and issue that BTR. Sorry, was there a question?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I couldn't hear you, so. Right, so we just paid that balance due. We have zero amount due now, so let's go issue this. Let's go issue this BTR. I'm going to change the status to issued. It puts in an issue date, and now we're going to go generate it. So I'm going to use the document generator, and we can create any templates that you need. So if you need to send a letter, or if you want to generate a formal certificate like we're about to do, this is where it would be listed. And then I'm going to pick my BTR. So they have a couple of options here. I'm going to select the 2021, and we'll see. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it's pretty. Hey, that's pretty. That's pretty. So normally their logo would be listed here, but this is their test environment. So this is the BTR that they generate. When we save this, it's going to save it to the Documents tab, and it's going to bring us there. And then you get to see all of the document history. So all of this attached fictitious name, this happened in the generation of the file. And then we sent this system, well, the system sent this notice that the application had been received. Now, this is probably a staff notification because this is the one that went out to the applicant. So this is an indicator where you are asking, do I get an email? In this instance, an email was sent out to staff. Now, this is the email that we generated as the reviewer with that licensing application review. And if we wanted to see what that looked like, we just click on the link. It's going to open that file for us or download it, as it were. And then we can click on it and show it. And then, so you get all this history of all of these documents and communications. And then at the very end, we generated this BTR, which looks like this, which is also now available on the portal side. Oh, look, there's a red X. That's so sad. They need their logo there. So, so this is their test environment. So, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So that can be actually emailed to them too?
Yes, you can attach this as part of an email. In fact, if you go to the contacts tab, you get a list of the contacts associated here, and you can use this email template. So we can pick that one, we can add attachments, and it's going to pull up all of the documents on the file. So here's our BTR right here.
Wow. Yeah.
Good luck with the kiddos.
It's paperless.
Yes, you can go completely paperless. So I've just sent this email from the contacts tab, but guess what? You get a history of that in the documents tab as well. There's that email.
Okay. Can we add like contacts? Like, for example, we have some landlords that ask us to send copies of licenses all the time for specific businesses. Can we add the landlord so that it's already there and we can just send the copy of the BTR from that system?
Yes, absolutely. So, oh, actually, you can do it in multiple of ways, right? You can set up this email, and you can just add an email address here.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you wanted to track, you can do that, but you can also just on the blue bar on the left, you can add a contact.
Okay.
And as long as they're in the system, you'll find them. If you like, if we looked for Joe Smith, let's see how many Joe Smiths are in Sanford. So it pulls up 3, and it will let you pick one of these. But if you needed somebody else, you then would click create a new contact, and you'd be able to add the Joe Smith that you were talking about. And then it would add them to this list.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
We have several restaurants that we annually collect the information, such as a certificate of insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to either set up alerts
to remind you to do this? It's like a rolling calendar. You have to do some every month.
Well, no, I mean, to set up an alert, let's say this restaurant submitted and it's due October of next year again. Can you have it set up that it's done automatically and an email is sent out to the business owner, or do we'd have to generate it on our own?
So what we find is that if you set things up a year in advance, businesses close and things happen, so that they need to be checked before they're sent out, at the time of. What we can do is set you up a metric that says, like this number of licenses in this renewal period, or you could have pending renewals, what's coming up in the next 60 days. And it would list whatever was there, and then you could click on that metric. And you could either batch process them, or you could process them one by one if it was a small list. But we haven't actually talked about how we do those renewals. Should we just take a look really quick? So I'm going to take you to the reports tab. I'm not sure if this user actually does it. Oh, but look, she has 1 billion custom reports. Report writing is included in your subscription, so ask for them if it will help you do your job. This is the My Reports file, and it has a bunch of things, including these BTR not first notice, BTR by expiration date. So she's got a bunch of list reports that she runs. Here, look, she has another section for renewal reports. So if we were going to do a renewal, this is going to print out a letter. So this is sort of a mass merge report. So if we did a renewal notices mail, and look, she's got this description. Run this report in preview mode to see the notices that will be sent. Once confident that the notices are correct, run this without preview check to generate the final notices. So I feel confident that we can run this in preview. by checking this box. And they've got some parameters here. So this report helps them to filter and get just the set of renewals that they want. So they're looking at 930. I wonder if there's going to be anything that shows up. This says number to print 50. How about we settle for 3? That will make our report go faster because we are in no rows selected. Okay, so then what I'm going to fall back on is my my demo environment, which has some data in there that I can muck around with and not mess anything up. So this is my test environment. And what we're trying to get to is this renewal process. So we will configure a renewal report for you, and it can either be a letter that you print out and send off, or it can be an email, or it can be both. And then you can capture the people that have emails and the people that don't. Both of those notifications can drive your users to the portal if that's what you want.
But we can make the email a requirement.
Yes,
Okay.
you can. So here we are in my business license guy's account. He has got some renewal notices here. So I'm going to do it for 2017 because I think I've got some reports there. This is what this renewal notice looks like, but this is just for this environment. So we would configure yours. I'm going to put it into print preview so you can see sort of at a glance what it looks like. And I think that it found, what, 7 of these? So the whole idea is that you would review these. When it was all right, you would run it in real mode. That real mode is going to go through each of these licenses, strip out the fields that you want them to fill out again on the, electronically, so that when they come back to the portal, they can fill that form out electronically. You capture the new data that you need, and they can pay their fees online. And then a copy of this letter, if it gets printed out, also gets associated with the file, or actually it gets associated when you generate the report, whether you print it or not. So then you have a history of what has happened on this file. So in this case, they can check off if they closed it, or they can put in if they're reporting by hours or by FTE, you would have a different set of data for your BTRs. But then this gets printed out. We can make this fit into a window envelope. You print it out and you go. This portion down here points the user to the portal, access our portal here. We can also include, we've created a portal account for you. Here's your user ID and your temporary password. That's what Ray was saying earlier. So if we run this as an email instead of a letter, it's going to give us just a different variation of that. We'll just pick this email license renewal notice, and we'll do it for the same date. It's going to be different users because we have different people without email addresses. But this is what that email looks like, and they can click here to renew their license. It'll take them to the portal, and they can go through that renewal process. All right, I've gone on and on and on. Do you have questions about what you've seen so far? Did we cover everything that you were hoping to see?
I think most of the stuff, and you said that some of the fields could be customized, so there might be some tweaks that we will probably want to add.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very configurable system.
How does it work? Do we give you all the PDFs? We give you the database. We give you the reports that we run, the samples of the notices, things like that, and then you work on it, and then we can come back and say, okay, we want to add this, or take this out, or whatever.
Yep, and actually we do that. So we're going to set up we're going to have you gather that information for us, and Michelle will kind of help you through that process. And then once that information is gathered, we're going to give you your implementation resource, and then we're going to start our weekly walkthrough meeting. So every week we're going to show you we'll come together in a meeting just like this. We'll show you the work that we've done. You'll give us feedback. And then real important part of that is after that meeting, we need you to spend another hour getting hands-on and actually trying stuff. Log in, roll up your sleeves. Not going to break anything, but I can guarantee you once you start working with it on your own, you're going to, oh yeah, I forgot about this, or maybe we need to think about that, or we need to change this. Get that feedback to us. We'll make those changes. We'll do more work. We'll show it to you again next week. You'll get hands-on. We just keep going through that process until you're the one that says, yep, that's how we want it. And then after that, anything that you need to have changed, we're going to do as part of support.
How long does that generally take?
It can, I would say, like for business licensing, generally I haven't seen your stuff. I'm going to say 3 months, maybe 4. But a lot of it kind of depends on you guys. I mean, if you're, there at each week's meeting, you're getting your, there's going to be decisions that you need to make. There's going to be maybe some information you need to get to us. We're not just like running off and doing this and coming back and saying, we're done here. You got 2 weeks to see if it's what you want.
Right.
We're working on it together. We work as fast as you'll work with us.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
For the archive, what happens when we archive? Do they have a system?
Yeah, Marlene asked about the archives.
Did you? I didn't.
They say that it would show, the parcel would show the history, so it would be there.
Yeah, but I mean more like, you remember that you told me that the restaurants, we have to keep the actual paperwork for the future. I don't want, because I know it's gonna be a database telling, okay, this business was there, but I want to know if the documents are gonna be there.
Attachments.
Yeah, the attachments. Yeah.
The record it's followed because it's going to create a history.
So let's go take a look at a parcel record, the property record in our test environment, because it's all it's all being used here. This is, I just opened up this license, Misha's Taco House at 941 Bakersfield, and then there's a little barcode icon that, or not a barcode, but a little binocular icon that'll give you access to a link to the property information. You could also get here by searching for a property. So this is the property file. It says property at the top, and it gives us that property address. This property tab shows us the parcel data, the ownership data as of this point in time right now. And then we have all of these tabs across the top. So the files tab is going to show everything. But if we click on permits, you're going to get just a listing of your permits. And if we click on licenses, you're going to get a listing of all of the licenses. The inspections list is huge on this project because we do code enforcement and inspections, but here they are. And then violations would show your code violations. So you
under licenses is the BTR information?
So not in this environment, but that's where they would be, because BTRs are classified as a licensed project in our system.
Okay, so if there was a different business, you would click on, like the Bakersfield bunker down there, you could click on that and it would have all the information that was submitted at the time that the license was there,
Exactly.
including attachments and everything?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
You get all the
I think that was Arlo's concern there, yeah.
And then I have another question with regards, because code compliance and the building department has access and we're sharing, is there restrictions on what they can see? Because some of these applications may at times contain sensitive information such as a social security.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we can do some, we can hide some data. But so what's true is that we can filter that data and hide it for everyone, but we can't do field specific hiding for different roles. So you could say code enforcement can do a review on a license, but can't view the license information.
Okay. Maybe just the field.
The field, yeah.
But I mean, I'm just being careful with like what I said, the social security. I mean, I would want the police department to have access to that, but not necessarily building and code.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, we can't lock the field down by role, but we can lock the application down by role.
Right.
And
so you could say.
My other question would be, once a license is finalized, and such as like a vacation rental that I just saw, every 3 years we have vacation rentals are required to do a reinspection.
Yes.
Once it's approved, is there a way to reopen it to be reviewed by the building?
Yeah, or you just add an inspection.
Okay.
Right. You could have a metric that says, these rentals are up for reinspection. And you could either run a batch job to generate those inspections,
and that could be customized, but that could be customized that we can have it once once a BTR is issued, that we can say in 3 years, this is gonna be due for a re-inspection.
Yeah, exactly. That actually we could do that at that part that it's issued. And then that would be, it sounds like that's going to be assigned to someone in the building department or to the building department.
And then I have another, we have another portion for the business tax portion. We also have mobile permits that every year, they're required to submit their annual permits that's issued by the state at the time of renewal. So is that also be when they send out the link for the renewal, can they submit new information?
Yes, for each license type, you get to dictate what fields get cleared out and what fields you want your business owners to be required to fill out.
Okay.
So yes, they can absolutely, you can clear that license out every year, or that field out, and make it required again, so that during the renewal process, if they want to renew, they have to upload.
But we're gonna have different, yeah? One for mobile permits and one for business? Okay, super.
Or I mean, it's probably in the fall. We have a business tax, but there's also, we have a different component that we also deal with, which is our mobile permits, which these are businesses that are not necessarily physically here in town, which there's not that many of them, but some of them, it's a different format.
Yeah. But we don't ask that much documents.
Yeah, we can set up any type of renewing license or any type of permit.
Yeah.
For the business department. What I brought over to the screen right now is an administrative view of the business license type. For each business license type, this is just the BL business license. Each of these types can have their own renewal configuration. So you get to decide what fields are reset, and that's set here by reset custom fields. You use that more information button, and it's going to pull up a listing. But you get to configure on a license by license level how that configuration is going to run. And really, you don't have to do this configuration. You tell us how you want it to work, and your engagement manager or support sets this up for you. And this is just taking a little time. There we go. So in this case, there are only 3 fields that get cleared. They want the user to re-enter the 2019 number of full-time employees and the 2020 hours worked, and whether or not you have 100 or more employees. But this is my test license, so it may not make a lot of sense because I did it. So please forgive me. But you would get to decide. So if we click add another, this field is going to list all of those custom fields on your license, and you get to decide which one you want, which ones you want them to fill out. And so here's where you attach copies of something, That's how we can clear out a field.
Do you guys have a maximum of megabytes that can be uploaded to the system or not?
In total, no, but we have a 25 meg per file limit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's plenty.
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Okay. But we don't charge for how much storage you use in total. So, we're not going to come back to you and say, oh, you in total have taken up X amount of data. Now we're going to charge you for that. It's all included in your subscription.
Well, that's not what I meant. I'm saying when the applicant is submitting, I don't want for them to have an issue uploading documents because they've exceeded a certain amount they can upload.
Yeah, So each individual file we'll start. The default is 25 megabytes for each file.
Yeah, I think it should be enough, primarily.
Yeah, it's a huge. 25 is huge.
Yeah.
Also, would you guys be able to upload our old BTR in the year that we go? Let's say we're going to go. We're going to be able to upload the PDF of the old BTR so we can have it there.
Yeah, that would be there would be a charge for doing that data migration. But if you can get me what system is that in today? Where are you guys doing that?
It's Access.
Okay, if you could just send me a copy of that Access database, I can get you an estimate on how much that would cost.
Okay.
or not an estimate, I'll get you a cost and how much it bought. But yeah,
So
we definitely are going to need to do that for the licensing component for the renewals.
I was going to say, isn't that part of the the integration? I mean, you do have to upload the information. I wasn't talking about the database itself. I was talking about uploading a document for each.
Where are those documents? You're talking about like a document that exists on a drive someplace, or you're just talking about, I mean, we'll set up as many of those permits as you want, those licenses. But if we're bringing historical information into CitizenServe, there's going to be a cost for that. Or if we're integrating with another system, there's going to be an additional cost for that.
Okay, so putting our data into your system from Access, there's going to be an additional cost for that. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
Just the data. And then if we add, because we have the PDFs of the application, that's a different charge as well.
Well, that would be this. So if you want to bring those historic PDFs in, there would be a charge for doing that. But we'd also have to make sure that there's some information on those PDFs that tell us where to put it. Like, is there a license number, or you know, somewhere on that, the naming of that document, or in the metadata on those files, there has to be something that says this is a license number, or this is, you know, whatever that might be. But that's so as long as those PDFs are set up that way, we could do it. If they're not, we may not be able to do it. So it kind of depends on how you've named them.
But could we do it?
Yes, absolutely. You could do that. Absolutely, you could do that. Yep.
Okay.
You can hire a summer intern, and it's a good job for somebody.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we need to get the database so that you can tell us what it's going to cost us.
And then how many user subscriptions are you guys? How many named users are you guys going to have?
What do you call users? Are the reviewers users?
If they already have, like if it was somebody from the building department and they were a reviewer and they already have an account, then there wouldn't be an additional charge.
Right, but for like the police detective, then there will be a charge. Is that?
Yes, there would be. Yes.
So, yeah. So I don't think that you're ever going to have more than 4 or 5 people.
So we'll just say 5. Because we have for a new installation we have a minimum of 5. So yeah. And then, so I can get you like an order form once we get that database. I can get you a cost for that.
Okay.
And Marlene, are you going to get that database?
I'm going to get IT to.
Perfect.
Yeah. Just a backup copy is all we need.
Okay.
That's good.
And just so, how many different license types do you guys have? Roughly?
We have a little less than 600 right now. Well, if you add the
No, 680.
680, okay. But then you have to add the mobile licenses.
The mobile licenses, which is about 100.
150, something like 160. Yeah.
So
that's how many licenses are issued every year, you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, well, it goes up and down, but yeah.
So we're looking at
roughly. Yeah. 1,000-ish that are issued every year. How many different types of licenses are there? There's mobile, you said.
the tax receipts and the mobile licenses. Yeah.
Also
The
just
business,
2.
but the business tax receipts are going to have many categories.
Right.
Or is it the same application? And they're just.
There's like what, 5 or 6 different applications?
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 to 7 different types of applications. Okay.
All right, well, we will get you a copy of that payment processor list, and we'll wait to hear from you on the backups that you can get. And then when Ray gets that, he can get you an updated order form.
Great.
And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're happy to help.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for your time this morning.
Thank
And
you.
Misha, did you show them how they can look up an individual also and see the history on an individual?
I don't think so. Would
So
you
she
like to
showed you
see
how you
that?
can see a property, but you can also get a look, that same type of a look based on an individual. And I got to ask you to do that when you were there.
That's all right. So I searched for Jim. This is my demo environment. So I pulled up Jim Garvey. He's got a file kind of like the property file, right? This is a contact file, but he has all these tabs across the top. So you can see the total listing of all the files he's associated with. And if you wanted to specifically look at licenses, you just click on the licenses tab and it'll list all of these different
But
licenses.
you'd also see any code violation that he's had or any other permits that he's had and all of his documents. So
Now, the
there's
cool
also
thing
that.
about this is that you can pull up his account and make a payment. So you can apply, if he sends you a check for 4 different things, you can add a payment across, all of his items here, his permits and licenses and development projects. So
Okay.
that's kind of cool.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.